So thanks for sticking with us. We've just stopped off for a little bit of lunch at Port Gregory. Not been here before, and we've just come to a little car park near the coast. Check this out. That's like a natural little breakwater, isn't it? It's actually massive. It's like one long, really long, continuous. Would you class that as a reef or a breakwater? I'm not sure. Well, the weather's certainly picked up. So we just had a very nice ham and cheese sandwich that Angie knocked up in a flash. And just let Sid have a quick Jimmy Riddle, and then we'll carry on to what might be an interesting stop for us. Actually, it's a place called Benjo, and it's actually a little animal sanctuary. But more importantly, in a sense for us, it's kind of off-grid. It's down an unsealed road. We've never done an unsealed road before. And we'll be under our own power and water and such like. So it's a bit of a test to see how we sort of get on with that. Because obviously it makes your travelling much more cost effective if you can, you know, do these kind of free camps and such like. So we'll just see how this one pans out. We have just on the way here also just turned 1,000 Ks in the motorhome. So that's the first 1,000 Ks it's done. We have learned, here Siddy, we have learned quite a few things. Well, we've learned a lot. But there's a few things come to light with the Conquest 25-1 that we'll share with you shortly when we're set up later, and a few things where there would be room for improvement, shall we say. But I'll save that for later today. So we're just approaching our first ever unsealed road. Not quite sure what to expect in terms of how vibraty it'll be and whether it's gonna shake everything off the shelves. There we go, look at that, Angie. So this is taking us down to the Benjo caravan park. It's actually quite smooth and very compact. We're going to stay nice and slow so that we can hopefully keep reasonably clean. Okay, we've got about 4.5 Ks of this, and we're currently doing 27 Ks an hour, so I'll not bore you with this. We'll be back in a minute. It's got a little bit more off-roady. That last road was quite smooth, but oh, where the hell are we going? I must admit, I'm questioning it slightly. There's a 30k an hour speed limit here, and we're doing 10. And I still feel like we're going a bit quick. I'm just waiting for something coming crashing out of the cupboards, that's the thing. That's where we're going, up there, isn't it? I actually saw that structure up on the hill. Can't be that one up on the hill, it must be this lower down. What's that up on the hill then? I actually saw that from the main road and thought, well, it's not that, we'll never get up there. But it must be the lower down bit. So here we are, it's taken quite a while to get up this road. It wasn't kind of what I was expecting really, but there you go. This is Benjo, apparently. Okay, so we've made it to Benjo, and quite a fascinating place this is. That is Jock in the distance. But this is quite an amazing. This gentleman has 1,000 acres on which he's created this little, well, it's like a little oasis, I suppose. So this is the little communal area, which is interesting to say the least. What about that? This is proper Australia, isn't it? A couple of other families here at the moment. That house up there on the hill is where Jock and his wife Benny live, and it's basically a house under a giant roof. This is the ablutions block, which is quite comical. Kind of basic, but it does the job. Europe, 12,000 kilometres. You can just imagine Jock on his hands and knees putting every one of these stones in place, can't you? And there's no shortage of flies. There's quite a few flies around here. You kind of expected, to be fair. Eye shade. Amazing. Well, it's certainly very unique. We've not been on a campsite like this, have we, babe? No. Just coming up that road was quite an experience. Imagine owning 1,000 acres. The grass sort of plain over there is not his land, but pretty much up to it is. I don't know how far this way it goes, you can't really tell from here. But when we get back over there, he pointed out a hill. In fact, you can just see it through the trees there. That big hill with a sort of a plateau on the top there in the distance. And just to the right of it, there's what looks like a little volcano. You can see it in between the trees there. That's all his. Amazing to think that that's all yours. You own all that lot. Right, I think it's time we put the kettle on, babe. As it turns out, it's cup of tea time. Yep, tea o'clock. I actually think the challenging thing here, get out the mud, Sid, is going to be keeping the flies out of the van. That's going to be the interesting bit. Well, with all that off-roading, we've managed to stay relatively clean. First bit of a shower is going to wash them wheels off, and everything else isn't bad, really. Quite surprisingly. What do you think? All right, Siddy. That's the one that you... Oh, did you... What? All right, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, okay, that'll do. So we've left the very middle of nowhere location that we were in El Benjo. Just check out this little bit of drone footage. And we've just arrived in Kalbarri. We're a little bit early actually. We can't check into the caravan site that we're on for another hour or so. So we're just going to let Sid have a little run As you can see, he's a little bit excited about the fact that the ball is out. Just have a look at this. 20 degrees at the moment. Weather is warming up nicely as we go north. So this is just a quick stop. I'll pass an hour or so. So welcome to the following morning. Pretty uneventful night in Kalbarri. Weather's taken a bit of a turn. It's a bit miserable today. So this is the site that we're on at the moment. Here she comes, the boss. We could only get on here for one day, so we're actually moving to another site in Kalbarri now. This was okay, decent block. I've just pulled the ramps out from under the front wheels. We're just about to set off because it's really sloping, even with the vehicle lifted up as high as we could get it on the front. It was still a bit low on the front. So anyway, last bit of packing up, and we're going to leave. This is the Anchorage Caravan Park, and we're off to the Tudor Caravan Park, which is literally about 2 kilometres away, but they had space and this place doesn't. So yeah, let's get gone. So Angie's just bringing the slide in. There it goes, and there it is, coming in inside. That's it. Beautiful. So we're now at the Tudor Holiday Park in Kalbarri. It's literally just round the corner from the last place we was at. We spent the night here last night and everything was fine. It was a little bit windy, raining a bit this morning when we woke up, but it's brightened up now. So this is where we are. We got a nice little spot, little concrete slab there, which is handy to keeping things clean. We're not particularly under any trees. Very nice ablutions block there. You get your own little sort of ensuite, which we've not seen before on a caravan site, just to have your own little toilet and shower, which is kind of good. Got some lovely little chalets there that obviously can be hired, and this communal area, everything is very clean. Nice pool if that floats your boat, and play area for the kids, and yeah, very nice site, and also quite reasonably priced. I think it was $52 for each night with full everything. So yeah, I don't think that's too bad. Now, I did earlier in the video promise you a little bit of what we've learned and improvements that could potentially be made. So in no way is this a review. We've literally been motorhoming now for not quite 2 weeks, so I certainly can't suggest that I know what I'm talking about. But there is one or two things that have jumped out at us almost immediately, where there is slight room for improvement. So let's have a little wander around. Externally, there's a couple of little frustrations, and these storage lockers are, up to now, a bit of a pain. I'm sure I'll get more used to them, but the fact that each one of them has 2 locks on seems a little bit of an overkill. They're also not the easiest locks to operate, and as you can see, those are fixed kind of from the top of the box, whereas the generator is fixed from the bottom. That means the key goes in the other way around, and it's a fiddly, awkward little key, and you're forever getting it the wrong way. I've not yet managed to get it the right way once, I don't think. I feel a bit like it would be really nice if you could turn the gas on from inside the van. It's probably something that, it's probably a legality, that it has to be external, but it just seems slightly odd that you've got to come round and turn the gas on. And my only other frustration really are these waste hoses. That black hose there is the grey water waste, and it's a bugger to wrap up. It's really awkward to wrap it up, and the storage bins, well, they're just not big enough really. It's really hard to get the things that you need. Your ramps, 2 ramps fill one of the storage bins. Storage bins are literally only about a foot deep, so you're really quite limited what you can get in. Having said that, from an external point of view, everything else is absolutely spot on. So we chose to have the big bull bar fitted, which probably in some senses might seem a bit of an overkill. To a degree. I mean, you could say it spoils the lines of the vehicle, but at the end of the day, you don't want to hit one of these. So from an external point of view, the slide out works perfectly. All the important stuff is absolutely spot on. We couldn't be more pleased. A couple of little niggles would be the storage compartments. It'd be great if they were a bit more functional, and the grey water and the washing machine hose are a bit of a pain, but that can be solved with aftermarket stuff, so I might look at that at some point. From an interior point of view, and there is Sid doing his guard dog. Sid, by the way, has found it very difficult to relax. He just can't get settled. No matter what he does, he can't seem to get settled. He's not sleeping well. He's really struggling to settle in. So one thing I've discovered is that everything very much needs to have a place. The second bed up here we're using for storage. But one thing that I have realised is you don't want to be putting things on top of something else. Having to move one thing to get to something else soon becomes frustrating. The tailored seat covers that we chose to invest in have proved to be really good, well worth the money.
But the taps do drip, so you have to put something under the tap, because it does just, all by itself, just dribble every now and again.
Yeah, for some reason this tap dribbles. Obviously we can pull this away and you can let it drip into the sink, as that one over there is dripping into the sink potentially. We don't really notice it with that one, but you do tend to keep this board on here because it's just a bit more, gives you a bit more workspace, hence the little, and you know that, I don't know if you can see that, that is just from this morning. So it does dribble, and it's a pretty much known thing. People have mentioned it to Jayco, and apparently it doesn't happen if you ask Jayco.
Because the high tap.
Yeah, the other thing is they're very, very splashy. Both sinks are very splashy. It's impossible to even walk through the bathroom without splashing that mirror. You don't even need to touch the tap. And I think the only other thing that we could say really that's a slight frustration is that the toilet is very cramped. It really doesn't give you much room at all. The shower, on the other hand, is superb. It's a little bit small, but absolutely no problem. I'm a pretty big dude and I don't have a problem using that. I don't know if you can tell from that, I'm sat on the loo now. If I take that cloth off there, I'm literally, my left arm is literally touching that, and my right arm is literally up against the toilet roll. So we cannot put a toilet roll on that holder because you would definitely knock it off. If there was a toilet roll on there, I would be like that. You know, how you're supposed to, well, shall we say, look after yourself after the event. You know, tricky. So a little bit more room in the toilet would have been lovely. But are we happy? Are we happy with the Conquest 25.1? Are we happy, Angie?
Yeah.
So yeah, you would be crazy to think that there wasn't going to be things that you would change or improve. But as I say, we're only 2 weeks in. This isn't a review. It would be very unfair for us really to pass any judgment. But we are absolutely over the moon with it. We're enjoying the whole experience, the travelling. Incidentally, it drives beautifully. It drives like a car. You tend to drive these things very gently because you're always aware of the fact that something could come crashing out of a cupboard, which it hasn't done. We haven't got any issues like that, but you do tend to drive it quite gently, and it's lovely to drive. And as best I can tell, fuel consumption appears to be, I would guess, when it levels off a bit, because at the moment it's still averaging, taking into account the city stuff that we were doing, I think we're going to be around about 11.5 to 12 litres per 100k, which realistically for a vehicle this size, 4.5 tonne, is brilliant. So fuel consumption seems to be great. Travelling with a dog, any comments on that, Angie? Let's just say we're glad he's small. Yes, people that travel with multiple dogs or big dogs, I don't know how they do it, because Sid is pretty small and you wouldn't think so looking at him there. He looks like an absolute angel, and you know, and he's a good dog, but he just tends to take up
likes to stand.
It tends to take up so much space. He has this uncanny knack of working out exactly where you want to put your feet and getting there first. So yeah, it's interesting. It's challenging, but it's good fun as well. So with that, I think we'll draw episode 3 to a close. Hope that has been of interest to someone. We are here in Kalbarri tonight, aren't we? And then we're heading up towards Carnarvon. I think we'll be staying probably in a roadhouse or a campground tomorrow night. We've not planned anything, we're just going to wing that one. And then find something up in Carnarvon.
Fingers crossed, it's not too busy.
So hopefully that's been of some use. As I say, it's not a review on the Conquest 25.1. It's just our findings in the first couple of weeks, things that we've sort of come to realise. Being organised is a definite must. And
so it's a good job I brought you, isn't it?
The other thing that's very much come to light is there's a right and wrong way of doing everything, isn't there? Everything you do,
it's wrong first.
Well, no, there's just a way of doing everything. If you pull something the wrong way, or if you, you know, you've got to be careful. You've got to be gentle, and there's a right and a wrong way. You find a particular way. Things like these blinds, you can just see behind Angie there, opening and closing the blinds. Initially, I found it really quite awkward, but I discovered if you spin the chairs in a certain way, you can get to them a lot easier. So once you've sussed out this is how you do this, and you do it that way each time, life just gets easier and easier. So yeah, all good.
There's
anyway,
an act to everything.
There's an act to everything. Yeah. So back soon. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you in episode 4. Bye for now. Bye.